The Johnsky is a YouTube channel run by and run for people over the age of 13. People under the age of 13 should click off of this video right now, or watch with a parent or guardian. Viewer discretion is advised.
You don't scare me!
Milt is freaking today, militiamen. My name is King Prime, and welcome back to another video here on the YouTube channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at another brand new Star Wars Vintage Collection action figure, that being the Star Wars Vintage Collection Ahsoka Ezra Bridger Hero of Lothal. Yes, we have everybody's favorite Space Blueberry, Space Aladdin, whatever fandom in-joke you want to call Ezra. We finally got him here, at least one of him. It's not the one that we all wanted, but this is the one we got for Ahsoka. But before we take a look at the figure, let's take a look at what comes in. Of course, up at the top there, you have that nice blood red Ahsoka logo that we see with all these VC figures, as well as a picture of him, or holographic him, telling Sabine that she's like a sister to him, which Lamau. His name is Ezra Bridger, and he is the Hero of Lothal. Of course, that is on the blue nameplate to match the blue pill. Kind of logo down at the bottom there. On the back of the packaging, however, we do have that nice old style VC packaging, as well as a tiny little bio right there, and some legal jargon. That's about it, though. I say it in every single video, my friends, but you only really care about the packaging if you're a boxed or carded collector, of which I am not. I'm here to open and review toys, and that is just what I'm going to do. Freeze frame. Freeze frame unfreeze, and here is Ezra out of the packaging. Before we take a look at him, let's take a bit at what he comes with. First off, of course, we do have this blaster pistol that he can wield. This is, I believe, supposed to be at least a DL-44, but he doesn't come with one. Not at least one that I recognize. Maybe this is some off-word blast stack variant. The tip of the barrel is picked out in silver paint, but I think everything else is just like a one tone, or maybe my eyes aren't that good. The handle might look a little bit more brown than the rest of it. That would be cool, but I don't think it is. Ezra can, of course, hold this pistol, and he does have a trigger finger hand that you can just turn and pull. Just place the blaster pistol into, and then he can hold it like that. It's not the most secure connection. You can just knock it right out. His thumbs aren't that good at actually keeping things in, unfortunately, but, you know, it's whatever. If you don't want him to hold the pistol because his thumbs are weak, he does have a holster right on his hip. It can just slot in right there, and you have a holstered pistol. It's kind of weird. There is, of course, a clearance between the optic on the pistol and the top of the barrel itself, which would make the pistol connection inside of the holster more secure, but it does warp the plastic, and it does make the pistol lean too forward out. Also, it really does kind of break the sculpt here, because this thing right here is supposed to be a leather strap that goes over the top of the grip of the holster that is supposed to be able to, you know, keep it secure, or give it the impression of being secure. But I don't think it works that well. This is how it's supposed to sit. It might work. The cutout is primarily for the optic. Anyway, I don't usually pose Ezra with the pistol, so it might just sit in there forever. It doesn't really matter all that much to me. The next accessory, of course, is Ezra's unextended lightsaber hilt. As any of you know, I do love to see unextended lightsaber hilts included in action figures, and this set is no different. As you can see, getting up here close on Ezra's lightsaber, it is just a nice silver and gunmetal paint job, going all the way around the pommel and the gunmetal on the grip, with just a bit of a drive-through with a little section right here with the silver. Of course, the top is picked out in gunmetal, and the emitter is silver. As you can see, there's a tiny little slant that it usually has when it is unextended. Ezra can, of course, hold this like a normal lightsaber, but more importantly, he can store it on his person. There is a little peg right there on the side of his belt rig here on either side of his hips. So you can just place his lightsaber right in there, and it will stay like so. The final accessory is, of course, the extended lightsaber with that nice emerald green blade. The hilt is picked out just the same, except this one has a little triangular clip where the actual clip would be on the extended version. Ezra can, of course, hold this like so. If he wasn't able to, I'd be remiss, but he can hold it. It's just a little bit weird because, like I said, his thumbs aren't the best, so... Yes, you can get him to hold it. No, he doesn't hold it that well. Like all good Hasbro figures should have, you have options. However, the QC is just getting in the way a little bit with this one. But moving on from the accessories and getting into Ezra himself, he does have a very, very nice likeness to Eman Esfandi from the hologram scene in Ahsoka. Looks just like him. As well as a pretty good likeness, at least to a realization of the season 3 and 4 appearance of Ezra Bridger, right down to the scars on his cheek. The face scanning technology has once again captured a fantastic likeness. I really have to give Hasbro credit for this stuff. They really keep knocking it out of the park with these head sculpts. It is like insane. From this angle, it even looks like the cartoon version brought to life with a real person's face. It's fantastic. The only thing I would complain about is the hair is, of course, jet black. Everyone in the fandom knows that Ezra's hair is like raven blue. That's why people call him Blueberry. It would have been nice to have like a bluish tint, but that's something I can take care of. Coming down to his outfit, however, he does have that sort of yellow-orange like shoulder pauldron thing. I'm pretty sure that's a Macquarie reference if I'm not forgetting something incorrectly, which is awesome. It has the orange stripes on the front and around on the shoulders, as well as a couple of inlaid details as well on the back. There's pretty much nothing except for a little bit more sculpting. On the stomach, he does have that sort of red trapezoid, which is interesting. Accurate to the show, but still interesting. On his belt going down, he does have a silver belt buckle, which I love, and a couple of studs, which are unfortunately unpainted. It would have been nice if some of these studs were painted on all of his sides. Nothing on his butt, except for more unpainted studs. Then he just has some regular brown pants, which are pleated, I believe. But they move down onto his boots, which are just like armor plated, kind of reminiscent of clone armor, with some yellow details there on the knees and on the feet. As for the articulation for Ezra, he does have a ball joint at the head and a very nice range of motion thanks to the dumbbell joint at the neck, which is, of course, allowing for a fantastic range of motion that far up, that far down, all the way around left, right, and of course he can do the sideways, not very well though to the side, truthfully. He does have a 4-inch motion at the arm, which can go all the way out and all the way around. He does also have a bend at the elbow, which is very good. It goes way past 90 degrees and can, of course, swivel as well. He has a wrist rotation as well as a in and out at the left wrist and an up and down at the right. So good for a lightsaber and gun wielding character. I like that a lot. He does also have a ball joint at the waist so that he can get his rebel reps in, as you can see there, as well as pretty much any motion that you'd want him to get wiggling side to side. This joint also doubles as a wrist swivel, so you can get some articulation there, as well as, and mind the angle here, ball jointed hips so that you can get a full range of motion at them. And in fact, the gun belt that he wears, as well as his holsters, even with stuff in them, are pretty well articulated. As you can see, you can have his lightsaber in and get a kick all the way out, as well as all the way forward, and at least as far back as it can go before it starts going out because of, his butt. Same thing on the other side. I can't promise if the gun's going to stay in, but that's very impressive. It's usually very hindered whenever something like this happens with a gun belt situation. Ezra tanks it no problem. That's really impressive, I think. It does also have a thigh swivel, which is a little tight. I think that's just my copy. I think mine is stuck in here, and so I can't get a full 360 rotation at the left leg. He does have a bend at the knee, which is about 90 degrees, as well as a swivel that you can get from that. He has a very good down at the foot and up at the foot and a full ankle pivot. And you know what that means. If you get him all situated outwards, you can, in fact, get the full Van Damme from Ezra. That is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm quite impressed by that. So overall, the articulation on this figure is absolutely phenomenal. Both standard for a VC figure and also far and above with the additions of the soft plastic gun belt and the ability to fully articulate his legs with it on. Absolutely stellar. I'm really impressed by that. Good job, Hasbro. But that's enough for the articulation. Let's move on to the size comparison so I can show you exactly how Ezra stacks up to some others. Freeze frame. Freeze frame on freeze, and here is Ezra next to our previous Star Wars The Vintage Collection review, and his crewmate and bunkmate, Zeb. Here he is next to the golden standard of action figures himself, Dark Times Darth Vader. Here he is next to a Vitruvian Hex skeleton. And here he is next to a Mandalorian of my own design. I really got to name this guy and make him like a channel mascot. That's something I got to get on. As you can see, Ezra is just essentially a little bit of a shorter standard-sized figure. He's a hair smidgen shorter than the Vitruvian Hex skeleton. He's a good bit shorter than the Mandalorian. Of course, he's a full head shorter than Zeb and Vader, as he should be. So overall, good scaling there for Ezra. But that's enough for the size comparison. Let's move on to my final thoughts so I can tell you exactly what I think about this guy. Freeze frame.
The droids have started up their main power generators.
Then now the time is, Commander.
Yes, sir.
Freeze frame on freeze. So overall, I am truly impressed by this figure. Ezra is, of course, a member of the Ghost Crew, and I'm pretty outspoken on this channel about how angry I was about how long it took to actually get the Ghost Crew in person. Of course, this figure is technically from Ahsoka, but even then, having representation of Ezra Bridger at long last is phenomenal, and this figure lives up to that hype. He's a perfect stand-in for a Season 3 and 4 Rebels Ezra. He comes with a good amount of accessories, despite the fact I think that the QC is kind of shit. I don't like the way that he holds his blaster and his lightsaber in his good wielding hand. He's actually only really got a good grip on his lightsaber in his left hand, which is, of course, not accurate. However, that is my only complaint about this figure. Everything else is super positive. He has fantastic sculpting and painting. Even though the design of this figure is kind of simple, he also has fantastic articulation. I mean, really some of the best I've ever seen on an action figure of this scale. And for the accessories, I mean, we could probably have gotten more. They could have squeezed a melee run or two inside of his packaging. But blaster, lightsaber, hilt, lightsaber is perfectly okay with me. I'm fine with that, truthfully. Yes, there could have been a few differences. His hair could have been a bit bluer, and of course, when it comes to his eyes, I don't think that, even though you can clearly see here that they are very blue, the most striking thing about Amon Esfandi's portrayal of Ezra is how blue his eyes were. I think that they could have just been a bit brighter, truthfully. But everything other than that is really okay. I think that they knocked it out of the park with Ezra. He and Zeb, and pretty much every single one of the other Ghost Crew members that I've reviewed thus far, except for Sabine and her goofy ass helmet, have been just stellar. I really got to give Hasbro credit for this, and you know that is hard for me to do. So if you like Ezra, or if you like Star Wars Rebels, Ghost Squadron, Star Wars Ahsoka, Star Wars in general. Make sure you share this video with your friends, share it with Facebook groups, all that good stuff. If you like the content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below. Keeps helping the channel grow, keeps helping me pump up this content. That's going to be pretty much it for this time, my friends. Thank you all so very much for watching, and as always, peace.